Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and today we are going to do the Game Week 26 deadline stream. So there's so much to discuss today. I've prepared so much content, so hopefully you guys find it useful. And I do want to know how many of you guys are wildcarding, because the talk of the town today is basically about wildcarding in Game Week 26 now, or whether it's worth it to save it for later on. Alright, so we're going to discuss all of this today, and yeah, I'm going to start off with my team and how I did for Game Week 25, and then kind of explain why I have decided to wildcard in Game Week 26, even though that wasn't part of the plan at all. Right, so let me say hi to some of you guys in the chat. Magical Man, thanks for coming early. How do I join the Discord? The link is in the description. The first link in the description to become a channel member or a Patreon. And you can join our Discord. Later on in the stream, I'm going to feature some of the drafts, some of the Game Week 26 wildcard drafts from our members to show some variations as to the different drafts that we can have. Some drafts even don't have Haaland, right? Which is I guess something that not a lot of us like, but the thing is, there is cause for why that draft can be useful as well. Right, so thank you all those in the chat for coming early. I hope you guys can hear me. The mic is a little bit wonky, so let me know if you guys can hear me clearly. Yeah, Ashmit, Jasper, Imad, Matthew, Andreas, thank you all for coming early. Okay. So this was how I did for Game Week 25. It's on the screen right now. So Game Week 25, 90 points, right? I didn't captain Saka, who got 15 points. I didn't have Martinelli as well. Martinelli really did so well this game week. Salah captaincy, right? His goal truly saved me. I think if he didn't score, I'm currently at 327k, so if he didn't score, I think on a 400k, I'll be on a red arrow until 400k. So thankfully he scored. Right, so I forgot to put up the poll for whether you're wildcarding or not. Let me put up the poll before we get on to the... Are you wildcarding in Game Week 26? Yes, no. Alright. Let me know if you guys are wildcarding in Game Week 26. I think about 50, I would say 50% of the team of the FPL community is wildcarding. So I'll be interested to know whether you guys are wildcarding or not. Fresh says, where are you from? I'm from Singapore. Start Raya or Kepa on the wildcard. Alright, I'll get into the draft in a bit. I'll show you guys my latest draft, and then we'll set the team up. To ready for Game Week 26. K7 says, I'm on a wildcard. Yeah, loads of people on the wildcard. The poll already has 70% of you guys on a wildcard. So hopefully this stream, I'm also on a wildcard. My wildcard is active, so hopefully some of you guys will find the draft that I'm going to feature useful. FPL Benchwarmer says, yeah, I'm wildcarding. It's very template, considering Watkins over Haaland and Iggy and Nacho over Kane to spice it up. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to feature some of the drafts in a bit. Right. We'll get onto discussions in a bit, but I just want to show you guys why I'm wildcarding. So, there's a couple of reasons why I'm wildcarding. I just want to... because the plan initially was not to wildcard, so I just wanted to make sure that I articulated exactly why I feel like wildcarding is the play for me this week, and maybe some of you guys who are in similar situations can kind of decide as well. Right, so couple of obvious reasons. So the first one is that I don't have any Brighton players. So that's one thing. 0 Brighton players. I know some of you guys have Mitoma, some of you guys have Solimarch as well. I have no Brighton players. Secondly, I have no Brentford players. That's another thing, right? So aside from the obvious thing of loading up on the Brighton and Brentford assets that double in 27 and double in 29, another thing is I don't have Harry Kane. So I just sold Harry Kane to fund the move to bring in Salah. So by bringing in Salah, I basically kind of put myself in a situation where I had to take a hit if I want to get Kane back. And I didn't know that I would want Kane back because initially, based on the predictions, he was supposed to blank in game week 28. But I'll show you guys the graphic by Ben Crellin in a bit. But he was supposed to blank in 28. But now that he doesn't blank, his fixture run is actually so good from game week 26 all the way up till about game week 29, game week 30. It's good to keep, right? So at this point in time, I think I want Kane back. So that's another thing that I don't have. I can't swap Salah for Kane like for like. I have to take a hit. So another thing is I have some fringe players that I don't really like. So Bueno is someone that is going to be injured for 3 to 4 weeks. Initially, I kept him with the thinking that I wanted to free hit in game week. I wanted to save the free hit in game week 28. So having Bueno and having Nonto in my team would allow me to have players that play in game week 28, even though the Liverpool players in my team blank. But now that Bueno is injured and Nonto at the same time, he came off at the 60th minute against Southampton, so that doesn't give me a lot of comfort as well. So that's the two French players, and also I have Mahrez. So Mahrez is also an issue for me. I don't think I'm confident, right, that he starts today. I think we will get some leaks by Team News and Ticks, but I doubt Mahrez will start, right? So couple of players already, right, that I don't really like in my team, right? And of course, the Liverpool players play Manchester United, so not great as well. Now, I just wanted to bring up the latest graphic by Ben Crellin. We'll come back to this graphic a lot later on, I assume, right? But basically, this graphic is the latest one by Ben Crellin on Twitter. Do drop him a follow. He does really awesome work in fixture planning. So I just wanted to cover a little bit about the Spurs fixtures that I mentioned just now at the start. So you see he plays Wolves now in game week 26. He plays Nottingham Forest in game week 27. Southampton in game week 28, which is a massive one because loads of teams who don't wildcard now or don't free hit in game week 28. You probably can't get to Kane if you don't already have him, right? So Southampton away is going to be a massive fixture for Harry Kane there, and then Everton away in game week 29, right? So that fixture run is very nice. I do like that fixture run, and I will want him back, right? But I brought up this graphic because I just wanted to mention about the game weeks moving forward, right? So because of the FA Cup results, Leicester lost to Blackburn. So basically, because of that, they now have a fixture in game week 28 where they will play Brentford. So that's another thing that is the implication of the FA Cup, right? Another result is also that Saints lost the FA Cup and Spurs also lost their FA Cup game. So basically, these teams won't double moving forward as well. If you take a look at Spurs, right, their fixtures are basically single game week fixtures all the way from game week 26 all the way to 38. So essentially, the point I'm trying to make is that game week 34, which was supposed to be a bigger double than it is now, right? Because if you see the orange highlighted squares or cells, basically it's only going to be a couple of teams that double, right? So namely Brighton, Manchester United, Man City, West Ham, and then a couple of other teams like maybe Fulham, and Liverpool, but those are not confirmed. So at this point in time, game week 34 is looking, based on Ben Crellin's latest tweets, is probably looking like 4 to 6 teams in game week 34 will double. And because of that, right, game week 34 bench boost isn't as good as I thought it would be, right? So now I actually prefer to bench boost in game week 29 instead, right? So at this point in time, I'll get to the chat in a bit, right? So at this point in time, because of how the bench boost in 34 is not attractive to me anymore, I've decided that bringing it forward also makes sense. Bringing the wildcard forward also makes sense for my team, right? And then obviously it saves me hits. It saves me using the free hit in game week 28. And yeah, I think in general, the fixture schedule, when I look at it from 30 all the way to 38, it looks like it can be navigated with free transfers, right? I've tinkered around with the team. I'll show you guys later on how I intend to navigate the next few game weeks after game week 26 with free transfers. But essentially, I think it is doable, and that's why I've decided to wildcard in game week 26. Right, so at this point in time, the chip strategy for my team is looking like free wildcard in game week 26, free hit will be saved for either 32, 34, 37 whenever I need it, and then the bench boost potentially 29, but it could also be 27. So I'll go into a little bit of why it can be 27. I'm sure those of you guys who are tinkering with your teams, you realize that game week 27 has a lot of benching headaches. And that is pretty much an indication that it's a good week to bench boost as well. So I'm not going to rule out that possibility that I bench boost in 27. Right, so this is pretty much the landscape, right, moving forward. And essentially, we're going to come back to this graphic a lot during the stream, right? But yeah, I just wanted to list the reasons why I kind of decided to wildcard. All right, let me get to some of the questions before I move on to my draft. Right, I spent the whole week tinkering with this draft, which I think after, I don't know, close to 50 over hours on the draft, I think I've come up with one that I think I'm good to go with. All right, let me just answer some of the questions before you get into my draft. FPL bench warmer says, considering Watkins over Haaland, Iheanacho over Kane just to spice it up. I'm a little bit concerned about Iheanacho's minutes, so I would prefer Maddison, who seems like he's back. A little bit of a spoiler, Maddison is in my draft. He's in my latest draft. Watkins over Haaland. I'll show you guys a variation of a draft later on that goes without Haaland, and there's good reason to go with it. Linus says, took a -12 just now, brought in Kane, Henry and Raya, took out Kepa, Pickford, Salah and Ketia. I think for those of you guys who are able to get to a wildcard, make a wildcard team, and then look whether you are able to get to that wildcard team by taking a couple of hits. And if that's the case, then maybe you can save your wildcard. Joha says, hi, I'm on a wildcard. Can't decide if I should go for Estupinian or Dunk. Dunk feels more safe, but Estupinian is more fun to have. So, I think there's a little bit of risk when it comes to Estupinian based on the frequency of the games. But I do feel like the upside is there. Right? The upside for going for Estupinian is there because he's so attacking. And I don't think Brighton keep a lot of clean sheets, to be fair. Like the last couple of games, they've only kept 2 clean sheets, I think, out of the last 10. Right? So I'm not too confident of clean sheets, but because Estupinian has attacking threat, I think he can get away with that one. Salah and Watkins or Kane and Maddison on my wild card. I prefer Kane and Maddison. McAllister or Mitoma. This is a big one. McAllister or Mitoma. Right, so I initially had, okay, I'm gonna put up my draft now, and you guys can see where I'm at in terms of my wild card. So let me, right, so this is my wildcard draft, right? Wildcard active. So basically, I've gone with Kepa and Raya as the keeper combination. I've gone for a back three, Zinchenko, Estupinian, and Rico Henry. And then on the bench, there's Trippier and Botman, the other 2 defenders for me as well. So that makes up the 5 defenders. In midfield, there's Rashford and Saka. These will definitely stay. Maddison, Mitoma, and March. So initially, I was on March plus McAllister. But just before the stream, I've switched it to Mitoma again. Right, I think the reasoning for that, aside from the fact that Mitoma just passes the eye test, is that I'm thinking a couple of things, right? I know that McAllister is on penalties. I know that he's on set pieces, free kicks, etc. I also know that McAllister does have a shot in him, right? He does have a bullet of a shot. But the thing is, when I look at it, McAllister does have that chance of playing at number 10, but there's also a risk that he moves back into that number 8 role and then he becomes the asset that I don't really want to have. So in terms of long term, because I'm thinking Mitoma and March, or March plus McAllister, these Brighton midfielders are players I'm going to have to keep all the way until, you see, they double in. Let me pull up the other graphic again. But basically, they double in 27, they double in 29, potentially 31, 34, 37 as well. I want to make sure that I have the best Brighton midfielders. So that's why I've swapped McAllister out. I've brought Mitoma in again. Now, Maddison is an interesting one. All right, so Maddison, that slot can essentially, the front three is just Haaland, Tony, and Kane. It hasn't changed at all ever since the result for the Spurs FA Cup, which basically means that they secured a fixture in game week 28, right, because of that loss. So the front three hasn't changed at all. But at this point in time, when you take a look at Maddison's slot, it can be Odegaard, it can be Maddison, it can also be Martinelli, right? So I think we'll tinker a little bit, and I'll show you guys some thoughts that I have of the plans moving forward as to why this slot is going to be important, because potentially I can actually bench boost in 27, and if I want to bench boost in 27, Maddison has Chelsea. So I wouldn't want to have Maddison if I'm bench boosting in 27, but if I'm bench boosting in 29 instead, then Maddison makes a lot of sense, right? So I'll tinker with the draft a little bit as I move on. But this is the team. I'll leave it on the screen for now and get back to the chats. Daniel, thank you for the super chat. Odegaard or Maddison? Right, so this is a great question, right? Okay, and since you've asked, I'm just gonna show you guys why Odegaard and also why Maddison. Right, so initially most of my drafts didn't have Maddison, but the reason why I think Maddison will be useful, right, is because of the bench boost in game week 29. Right, so I'll show you guys now. We'll pull up FPL team. Right, let me adjust the camera. Right, so we'll pull up FPL team, and basically I'm gonna show you guys the reason why I've gone for Maddison for now, right? Which is, I think what I'll stick with, right? So I should have loaded my team, but I think making the transfers here can show you guys exactly what I've done. Right, so Botman in, I've got Zinchenko as well, I've got Rico Henry, I've also got, who's the last one? Estupinian. Right, and then in midfield, Mitoma, I've also gone for March. Okay, we'll leave Odegaard in this draft, and I'll show you guys why I've gone for Odegaard here. Haaland, Kane, and Tony, and then Raya. Alright, so the difference between Maddison and Odegaard for me, right, the reason why I feel like I can go without Odegaard is because, okay, look at this draft, right? I've made 32 point hit. Basically, I've wildcarded, right? So if I set my team up, I think this week, how I probably would set up is Trippier on the bench. I'll have to bench either one of March or Mitoma. And then we're going to assume that we leave Odegaard in this team for now, right? I'll likely line up something like this, okay? So captaincy, ignore it. We're not going to change it throughout. So 27, this is when Odegaard actually becomes a little bit, I wouldn't say useless, but he's going to be on the bench, right? So essentially in 27, you have to start all your Brighton and Brentford players. So I'm going to load all of them in. And there you see where Odegaard kind of lands himself on the bench, right? The game week 27 bench is very strong. It's Kepa, Botman, Odegaard, and Zinchenko. And if I'm going to leave Odegaard on the bench, right, come to game week 28, yes, he has Crystal Palace, right? But essentially, the way I look at it is, I'm not going to have him for this Fulham game. This game week, in game week 26, he plays Bournemouth, but Maddison also has Southampton, so that's pretty good as well, right? And then, come to game week 28, Maddison also does have a fixture, right, against, I think Brentford, Brentford. And then, after that in 29, the plan would be to sell Odegaard, the plan will already be to sell Odegaard. And if I had Maddison, I can keep Maddison and I get Bruno Fernandes by selling Saka. Right, so let me show you guys the plan if I go with Odegaard, right? In 29, the plan would be to sell Zinchenko for sure and sell Odegaard for Fernandes. So this is the plan for 29 if I go with Odegaard. But the thing is, if I go with Maddison, I'll show you guys another variation. But basically, if I go with this Odegaard pick and also this this draft, basically, if I sub in all the double game week players, I'd only have Saka, Kane, Haaland as the single game week players on the bench. Basically, I'll have 3 single game week players in Haaland, Saka, and Kane. But the thing is, if I go for Maddison, this is where the difference comes in. Right, so game week 26, I start with Maddison. I have Southampton away. Come to game week 27, I'll roll the transfer. Maddison goes on the bench because he plays Chelsea. Similar to Odegaard, where I would bench him even if I have him in this team in 27. And then come to 28, right? Obviously, I'll sub them in. I'll probably sell Haaland. The plan in 28 is to sell Haaland for Watkins for now. Right, and then that's it. I mean, pretty much, I'm quite set for... Oh, hold on. So this would be Maddison. Right, so the other way I can get to Bruno Fernandes would be to sell Saka. And I'm not opposed to selling Saka for a couple of reasons. Because Saka plays Leeds. I know some of you guys in the chat saying that Saka plays Leeds. So basically, Saka plays Leeds. But after that, he has Liverpool, West Ham, Southampton in game week 32. I'm probably going to free hit. So I can cover that Southampton fixture. And then 34, he has Man City. 33, he has Man City. 34, he has Chelsea. 35, Newcastle. 36, Brighton. Do I really need Saka? Right, so I'm okay to sell Saka to get Bruno Fernandes. And then that's it. This is my team. And I think this way it looks a little bit better. And that's kind of why I like Maddison. And on top of that, Maddison's fixtures after game week 29 is incredible. Right, Bournemouth, Wolves, Leeds, Everton, Fulham, and then I can just swap him back to maybe Saka, right, when the time comes. So that's why I've gone with Maddison in the draft for now, right, and I hope that answers your question. But I did want to cover this this tinkering moving forward to show you guys what excuse me, show you guys what I'm thinking about. Right, so let me get to some of the questions. Sorry for going on a tirade of plans, but I did have to cover everything so that you guys kind of understand the reason why I chose some players. In Ketia, wait, hold on, let me make sure I cover most of the questions. Alright. McAllister or Mitoma, so I'm on Mitoma in March at this point in time. Gabriel or Zinchenko, I think Gabriel definitely has the aerial threat. But consistency of attacking threat, I think Zinchenko is the one just because of his inverted role. So that's why I like Zinchenko. Ashmit says, is Maddison fit? He seems like he'll be fit. Right, so I'm having him in my draft at this point in time. ZVUK says, pick 2 of them, Mitoma, McAllister, March. I'm on Mitoma in March at this point in time. Shaw or Dyer on a wild card? I think it depends when you are... I don't mind Dyer. I don't mind Dyer. Raya or Sanchez. Right, keeper pairing is another thing that you have to think about, right? And it actually was quite a tough decision. One of the last few dilemmas that I have was to decide which keeper pairing I wanted to go for. The keeper pairing that you should not go for is Raya plus Sanchez. And the reason is because in game week 27, you'll want to play 6 double game week players. If you go with Raya plus Sanchez, you will have to bench one of your double game week players, right? So you wouldn't want to do that. And Kepa, I think I would have him. So it's really a question of whether you go for Raya or Sanchez as the other keeper. And I just prefer Estupiñán as a defensive asset for Brighton, and that's why I have to go for Raya. Deadly Mantis says one transfer this week and then a wildcard next week for me. Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean team dependent, right? Team dependent. If you can save your wildcard, I'll show you guys some drafts later that can save wildcards. Then I think you can save it for later on. Right, you don't have to use it now, right? It's really team dependent. FPL Fanatic says Watkins or Tony. I have Haaland and Kane up front. I'll go for Tony because of the doubles. Ashmit says thinking to bring Gabriel instead of Zinchenko. Now Gabriel is a little bit more secure in terms of minutes because the Europa League is coming thick and fast in between the game weeks. So there is a slight risk that Tierney comes in for Zinchenko, but I think I'm willing to take the upside with Zinchenko. Any news about the City starting lineup today? It will come out soon. We'll probably get some leaks from Team News and Ticks. I'll keep a lookout for that. Bench boost in 27 is a waste. I think if you calculate the extra fixtures that you're getting, right, it may not be so different to bench boost in 27 as opposed to 29, right? So I'm not going to rule out that possibility. Trippier or Tarkowski, who to start? I'll start probably Tarkowski. Based on this draft, you will be having 5 blanks for game week 28. What's the plan for that? So the plan for game week 28 will be to bench 3 of the blankers. So that will likely be Brighton assets, all 3 of them. So Estupiñán, Mitoma, and March. And then probably take Haaland out for Watkins, as I showed just now. Is Madison 100% fit? Seems like it. The press conference does give me a little bit, quite a bit of confidence, right, that he's fit. So my game week 26 wildcard goalkeeper is Sanchez, Kepa. Oh, you've loaded your whole team here. Estupiñán, Trip. Alright, I'll show you guys some variations of drafts that I think would work as well. Right, we'll get to the Discord in a bit. Saka versus Leeds at home, Madison versus Madison double game week with potential injury doubt. Saka is a no-brainer. I mean, fair enough. If you want to keep Saka for the Leeds game, that's fair as well. Like, that's totally fair. Ashmit said that's well explained. I hope you guys I hope it was clear. So Paul says, who should I captain between Odegaard or Haaland for this week? I mean, if you have Saka, you captain Saka. If not, I think Haaland has Newcastle. I don't really like that. I mean, I was gonna say Rashford, but Liverpool. If I'm to choose Odegaard or Haaland, I would still say Haaland. Yeah. Ali Max says, hi Leon, Odegaard or Martinelli in my wildcard. I would say Martinelli. It depends when you are taking Odegaard or Martinelli out. I would assume that slot would become Bruno Fernandes in game week 29. And if that is the case, if you only need that player for a short while and you are intending to bench boost, like I mentioned, right? If you're intending to bench boost in 27, then maybe Martinelli isn't so it isn't at that much of a risk, right? Because Jesus wouldn't come back that soon, right? And if that's the case, then Martinelli definitely plays in a role that I feel like we saw against Everton, right? If he plays that role, it's much more chances of him getting a goal, right? So in that sense, I would say it depends on when you are bench boosting and also what are your plans with that slot for Odegaard or Martinelli. Bringing in a Spurs defender can be a good choice based on their fixtures, but the only thing is they don't have a double game week. Should we bring in players based on who has a double game week or not? I think the value in having a Spurs defender in your draft right now is that you're ready for a bench boost in 27. That's the thing, right? So it really depends on your strategy for this week. I'm going to Emerson Royale as my third defensive starter. I mean, Emerson Royale is injured, no? I think he's injured. Ani says, am I out of my mind to go for Martinelli instead of Odegaard? I don't think that is a bad thing. I think there's good reason for that. If you go with Kepa plus Sanchez, you can bench 3 Brighton players plus Rashford, transfer Haaland for Watkins. So the value in going for Kepa plus Sanchez is, as you mentioned, you will get 11 playing players in game week 27. So that is the value in having Kepa plus Sanchez, right? But the thing is, in terms of Brighton's defense, I don't think that they will keep a lot of clean sheets. I'm going to be honest. I don't fancy them for clean sheets, but Estupiñán gets away with it because he has attacking threat. So that's kind of why I think going for Sanchez, I feel he just does not have that kind of return potential like Raya, because Raya makes loads of saves, like I think close to 4 point something saves per game, as opposed to Sanchez's 2 point something, right? So basically, Raya, I feel, has the potential to get maybe 10 pointers whenever they keep clean sheets. And that's pretty much why I think Raya is the keeper I'd go for. And then I'd go for Estupiñán as the Brighton defensive asset. Midnight Mule FPL says, thanks for making the stream. Thanks for coming down. Play Mbeumo or Mitoma. I would prefer Mitoma. What are your thoughts on Ward-Prowse and Chilwell as punts in Wildcard 26? Ward-Prowse I wouldn't go for. Chilwell is okay. If you don't have Kepa, I think he's okay. Samar says, would you go for Chilwell or a Villa defender to replace Trent? Probably a Villa defender, I'll be honest. Yeah. I'm a Chelsea fan, but I think I would go for a Villa defender to replace Trent because of the fixtures moving forward. FPL Boo Boo says bench Darwin or Mitchell. I would start Darwin. What about captaining Martinelli? That is a little bit of a risk. What would I do in game week 28? I'll sell Haaland. That's the plan for now. I'll sell Haaland. Alright, so I'm gonna move over to the Discord because I want to show you guys some variations of drafts that basically I want to show you guys some variations of drafts that do make sense. Right, so let me take a look at our Discord. I'll switch us over to the Discord. So I want to show you guys so these are all the drafts posted by the members in the Discord. So I want to show you guys some teams that I think can save the wildcard and some teams that I think a wildcard would be pretty much the way moving forward. Right, so I'm going to show you guys first this draft by Rockstar77, right, in our Discord. So basically there's Kepa, right? This draft is actually what his team looks like at this point in time. And my advice for him is actually to save the wildcard, right? So a couple of reasons for that. In terms of Brighton and Brentford assets, at this point in time, he hasn't even made any transfers yet, right? He has Mitoma, he has Zinchenko, he has Kepa, he has Saka, Rashford, Kane, Haaland. João Felix is alright, so it's not great, but it's alright. And he has Trippier on the bench. So essentially, he's very close to a game week 26 wildcard team, right? This is actually very close to I would say the couple of drafts that I've seen on Twitter as well, right? So basically, I would say that with a draft like this, for those of you who are in a similar situation, what I would do, right, is to save the wildcard, right? I would save the wildcard in this particular situation, right? So let's see another draft that I kind of felt like a wildcard would be necessary. So this is by Sashin on the Discord as well, and basically he's asking if he should free hit in game week 28, right? And looking at the draft, there's a couple of problems here. Nonto, which I mentioned just now, I don't really like the look of him moving forward. There's Andreas and there's Mitrovic, right? None of them you would actually want to play. And then there's also the issue of Ake, right? And on top of that, the two Liverpool players, right, who you don't really want to play against Manchester United. And then he has Ben White instead of Zinchenko or Gabriel. So basically, this draft, right, for those of you who are on a similar draft like this, I would say that a wild card would probably be the way to go. I don't think saving the wild card and then free hitting, right, would actually make this draft better. I think the way moving forward for it would be to wild card. So I wanted to show you guys a couple of other drafts before we get to the questions. So this draft here, right, is by Ariel, who's a YouTube member. So basically, when you look at this draft, the first thing you see, he's on a wild card, by the way. The first thing you see is there's no Haaland, right? And he's gone for Sanchez and Kepa as the keeper pairing. And he's gone for Estepinian as well. So basically, this draft, I mean, I don't really like the Ward-Prowse pick, but I can understand why this draft kind of makes sense, right? Especially with the keeper pairing of Sanchez and Kepa. And then you go with, James can be replaced with Chilwell. Ward-Prowse you can replace, I would say, Brighton midfielders, or you could even go for one more Brentford player, right? So basically, the shape of this draft and the thinking behind this draft going without Haaland is basically you're gambling on him not doing that well from now all the way until game week 20, all the way till game week 30, which is when you bring him back. And then you have Watkins and Tony, so it saves you one free transfer of doing Haaland to Watkins in game week 28. So basically you can go into game week, so Sanchez plus Kepa already means that you go into game week 27, go into game week 28 with 11 players. And then after that, when you come to game week 29, you already have Watkins, right? So you're basically one transfer up, right? So that's why I think this draft also makes sense, right? Then for the other drafts by some of the members, most of it are a lot of template drafts. I would say I'm on a pretty template draft as well, right? And the main differences, right, would be which two of the Brighton midfielders you go for, would be the keeper pairing, would be Zinchenko versus Gabriel, would be Rico Henry versus Pinnock versus Ben Mee, right? And whether you go for Maddison, Odegaard, or Martinelli, right? So at this point in time, right, I would say that there's a pretty template draft out there, but I still feel like you could go a lot of different ways with the drafts. Right, so let me get to the questions. Raya and De Gea. Raya and De Gea is an interesting keeper pairing. I don't dislike it, but I do want Luke Shaw in the future as my United defensive asset. So that's why I'm not going for De Gea. Sandro says, I think Haaland and Saka don't do well this week. I might just captain and pray. Do I think ban allegations will impact Tony's performance? I mean, he's had it for a while now. He's had these allegations for a while now, but he's still somehow able to play through and kind of basically keep focused on keep focused on his football. So I think he should be fine. I mean, I feel he should be fine. No Haaland on the wildcard worth the risk, right? So as I said just now, the value in the wildcard for the no Haaland draft is basically that you're saving one transfer in the future. You're betting that he doesn't do well against Newcastle here. You're also betting that when you save the free transfer that you're making up points there, right? You don't have to do Haaland to Watkins. You will already have Watkins. All right. Can you do a different poll with people who are using the wildcard game week 26, 27, and beyond? Yeah, we can change the poll. Right, so 266 votes so far. 266 votes so far, and basically 70% of you guys are using your wildcard. That is incredible. And I think that is pretty impromptu as well. In general, most of our teams would follow a kind of path that we're just a couple of players away from the ideal wildcard team at that point in time. So the past couple of game weeks, I think I was just 1 or 2 transfers away from the ideal team at that point in time, and that's pretty much kind of a metric that I use to see whether I should be wildcarding in a particular week or not. And then come the game week 26, I realized that I'm about 9 to 10 players away from the ideal wildcard draft, and that's kind of an indicator as well. How far are you from your ideal wildcard team, and would you be making loads of transfers basically, right, to make up for that? So that's kind of an easier way to say whether you should wildcard or not, right? How many transfers are you making and whether it's worth it or not. I personally think Odegaard and Martinelli outscore Madison this game week as they play for a more reliable team. It's just I need to take a -4 to get Madison in for game week 29, which I don't know if I can justify. I mean, that's a fair point as well. The thing is, in game week 27, I will be benching that player. Whether it's Madison, whether it is Odegaard, whether it's Martinelli, I will be benching that player. So that's kind of pushing me to go for Madison now in game week 26 instead. But as you mentioned, I think there's every reason to go with Martinelli or Odegaard. I think that there's good reason there as well. Best Brentford defender, I would say it's close between Rico Henry and Pinnock, simply because I don't think Ben Mee justifies 5 mil. I think saving the money and just going for a much cheaper defender in either Rico Henry or Ethan Pinnock would be the way to go. I'm struggling to choose March, Mitoma, and McAllister. Any advice on which two to pick? I mean, this is close. I was initially on McAllister and March. Right, I'll be honest. If you wanna, the simple breakdown is basically Mitoma is the eye test, March is the stats, and McAllister is the gamble basically. Does he play in that number 8 role? Does he play in that number 10 role? But he does have penalties and set pieces as well. So I'm currently on March and Mitoma. You will have to consider how long you want to keep them for as well. Kath then says, should I play Rico or Trippier? For this week, I'll play Rico Henry. Any news on the City lineup? Let's take a look. We should get some news by Team News and Ticks, but nothing at the moment. Nothing at the moment from Team News and Ticks. Have you looked at Felix instead of Watkins for Haaland in game week 28? Yeah, I think that's fine as well. That's Felix for Haaland in game week 28 works as well. Of course, if they pick up, if Chelsea pick up in form, right? So I just want to switch over to the. Oh, by the way, there's 200 of you guys on the stream right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please help me out to drop a like on the stream. Right, it's just below, just a second or two, so that it can reach more people. Right, basically helps the stream to reach more a wider audience. All right, so the plan for now, based on this current team. Oh. Give me a moment. Messing up my streams. Alright. So the plan for now, with Madison of course, is basically, right, this is the team. Kepa, Zinchenko, Rico, Henry, Estupinian, Mitoma, Madison, Saka, Rashford, Tony, Haaland, Kane, and then on the bench, Raya, Botman, March, and Trippier. So the plan for now is, in game week 27, I would probably roll, right? And I'll start all my doublers, line up something like this. Madison on the bench. As I mentioned, that Madison slot, whether it is Odegaard, whether it's Martinelli, you will still be benching this player, right? So if you are bench boosting, I would say, if you're bench boosting game week 27, then maybe going for an Arsenal player in that slot would make a little bit more sense, right? So I do appreciate that as well. And then come to game week 28, the plan is to sell Haaland. So Watkins, I've already made my transfer, so basically that's why it looks like this. But initially, Haaland was here, right? So without making any transfers, game week 28, this is how the team would look like, right? So the plan would be, how many players do I have in game week 28? And basically, 2 free transfers, 1.6 in the bank. I have 5 blankers. The plan is to sell Haaland for either of Felix or Watkins. Right. So let's say we go for Felix, which is an alright pick as well. Right, so let's say we go for João Felix against Everton. He will have that double in game week 29 as well. So basically, once again, I've already made my moves, but for those of you who just joined, I'm going to reverse the moves to show you guys what moves we made this week. Right, so give me a moment. Right, so yeah, back to no transfers. So remember in game week 28, basically the move that I did was to sell Haaland for João Felix. Right, so when that happens, come to game week 29, I have João Felix here already. So he's a doubler. And then I also have Madison because I went for Madison at the start. And then everyone else doubles, right? And I have 2 free transfers to get 2 more doublers. So I will probably sell Zinchenko for Luke Shaw. Bring in Manchester United players would be the objective for game week 29. And then Saka to Bruno Fernandes. And that's it. This is the bench boost team for game week 29. I think it's strong. The only thing that I will consider is a little bit of a bummer, is that I have Rico, Henry, and Raya on the bench. Right? If I set it up exactly how I would line up, take for example that I'm not bench boosting, right? This 11 would be the 11 that I go with, and then the bench has Rico, Henry, Raya, Kane, and Botman. So essentially, when I look at it, I think Rico, Henry, and Raya, they don't look like they're going to keep clean sheets there. Right? So you could make the case, right, to take Rico, Henry out for someone else. Right? I think there is a case for that, and that's because I wouldn't take Botman out in game week 29, right? And the reason for that is because if I set the projected fixtures from Planet FPL, you realize that in the coming game weeks, game week 31 is where Newcastle and Brighton are projected to double, right? So having as many players from these teams would be important. So I wouldn't sell Botman in game week 29, even though he doesn't have a very good double game week there. Raya I'll probably keep as well. So it's better I take Rico Henry out and I sell him for maybe like Reece James if he's fit by that point in time, maybe Chilwell, or maybe even, I did consider this, Kurt Zuma, right? Because West Ham's double in game week 29 is Southampton and Newcastle, which is not too bad as well, right? So this is what it is looking like for game week 29, right? Essentially what I can get to if I take a -4. So I hope you guys managed to follow through the explanations. All right, let me get to some of the questions. Wow, there's loads of you guys in the stream today. Thank you guys for joining. Really nice to see so many of you guys. Where did I leave off? What's the plan after game week 29 with no Man City players? The plan after game week 29 would be to get ready for double game week 24 or 34, right? 34, we would know by then, right, how 34 would shape up, and the plan after game week 29 would be to prepare for double game week 34. So from now, game week 26 all the way up till game week 29, my focus would be to get as many players that double for game week 29 when I bench boost, and then from game week 30 onwards all the way till game week 34, my focus would be to bring in players who double in game week 34, and 32 is likely when I would free hit, right? Based on how the fixtures are falling, 32 free hit seems like the plan that I would go for. Dara says, if your plan was to bring in Fernandes for Odegaard, would you just start with Maddison instead? But then I think I'd be too tempted to go for Fernandes in 29. Yeah, the plan is to go for Fernandes in 29. And whether or not I start with Odegaard, I can get to Fernandes by selling Saka, right? And I don't really like Arsenal's fixtures after that. So that's kind of why I'm okay to sell Saka, even though I know Saka against Leeds would be a good fixture for him, right? For sure. March or Mitoma, if I have to pick one, I would go for March. Maddison over Odegaard. I've gone for Maddison. FPL veterans in the chat. Nice to see you. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while, man. Armin says, hi, just joined your channel. Where are you from? I'm from Singapore. I've also received a couple of comments on the team selection video this week on the way I pronounce Wildcard. Am I pronouncing it wrong? Let me know. I usually say Wildcard, but I'm not sure how I pronounce it in the videos. I think if I say it quickly, I say Wildcard, which may not be the right pronunciation. I'm not sure. But someone said, I received a comment of someone saying, I love the way you pronounce Wildcard. So it makes me think whether I'm pronouncing it correctly or not. Nuno Fernandez says, congrats, you do nice work. Thank you very much. Are you joking? You can't sell Haaland, surely. I mean, what we are betting against is Haaland versus Liverpool against Watkins' 3 fixtures or João Felix's 3 fixtures. I mean, if we can't even cover Haaland in 3 fixtures, I have no idea. I mean, I can't even explain. McAllister or Mitoma for the 11. Right. For today's team, for the game week for the game week 26 team, how I'm likely to line up, if I'm to set my team, right, I think Kepa in goal, because I wouldn't want to double up on Brighton defense. I already had Rico Henry. So I would go for Kepa in goal. I would go for Raya on the bench. I start Rico Henry, I start Estupinian, and I start Zinchenko. I definitely bench Trippier and Botman. I think it comes down to a question of just whether I start Mitoma or March. And it's a close one. I'm likely still to captain Saka regardless. Right, so it's a close one whether I start March or Mitoma. It's pretty close. It's pretty close, I would say. If I had McAllister, I definitely put McAllister on the bench and then I'll start either March or Mitoma. But now that I have both, I don't know, it's really close. It's really close. Maybe you should do a poll on it. Elimax says it's really Wildcard. But even us English get lazy and drop the D too. Wildcard. Wildcard. Should I sell Odegaard and buy Martinelli? I think the upside for going for Martinelli is there. Given that you'd already be selling, I think the upside for Martinelli is there. For me, I think I would either go for Madison or Martinelli. Right, that for me is the decision that I would probably have, that I would still have to make. Should I sell Odegaard and buy McAllister's XG is so huge. That's the thing, you see. If McAllister plays, in the number 10 role, he takes so many shots, right? That is incredible, right? And also he's on penalties, he's on set pieces. But if he plays beside Caicedo, then he automatically drops to the worst out of the three Brighton midfielders. KK says, can do a shout out for FPL only la chat group. So for those of you guys from Singapore, that's where I'm from. If you do play FPL, there's a chat group called FPL only la, and basically it's on Telegram. You can search it and just join. It's just a free chat group. Ashmit says, great stream as always. Finally, I prepared my wildcard draft. All the best. All the best to you, Ashmit. Which team do you support? I support Chelsea. It's not going well. It's not going well. Martin says, looking at a wildcard 28, thoughts on Barnes as an option for Leicester cover. Price difference versus Madison allows me to do Odegaard to Bruno in game week 29 and Felix to Haaland in game week 30. I do like Barnes. I'll be honest. Thing is, you still can do Saka to Bruno, which is something that I think would be alright. Right? It's something that I think will be alright. I don't think that's the worst. That's the worst thing. Amol says Brighton aren't gonna score much as of recent form. Let's see. I mean, the point is to put us in the position to get as many points as possible, and then the rest is up to the players. JC Snook says, is this a wild card? Is this a wild card? Yes, this is a wild card. Bench Felix, Iheanacho, Trossard, Martinelli, or Rashford. Don't really understand that. Are you benching all of them? They look good to start this week if you have all of them. Brentford defenders will be a disaster. Famous. We'll come back to that. But there's every chance that in game week 29, I think they won't keep a clean sheet. I think that's a tough fixture for them. right? Game week 29. So I'm not expecting too much for 29. The main one is 27, which I think they will do quite well in. Is Estupinian playing? Estupinian is fit, so it's likely that he'll play. And even if he doesn't, I have Trippier on the bench. So McAllister versus Mitoma. I like that he has penalties. I do like going for the penalty taker as well. I was quite hot on McAllister all the way up till just before the stream where I switched McAllister out for Mitoma. March was always going to be in my team, so it's a question of Mitoma or McAllister. I think I'll do a poll and see. Right, so 400, and I'm going to close the poll that we have right now, but 462 votes, and basically 70% of you guys are wildcarding. That is incredible. That is incredible. I'm going to change the poll now to when you guys will be wildcarding. Right, so if you're not wildcarding, right, let me know when you will wildcard instead. So there's a couple of other windows, right? I'm wildcarding in game week. There's 26, there's 27. You could make a case to go for 28 as well. You probably wouldn't wildcard in 29. There's only 4 options that I have, right? So there's 27, which I think will be a hot one. 28 I think not as hot, so I'll put 29, and I'll put, okay, no, I won't go for 29. I'll go for 30 and 34. Those are the 33. Those are the other windows that I think would make sense. So 30, 33, and then others. Right, let me know. Let me know when you guys are wildcarding, if you aren't wildcarding in game week 26. Right? If you are, then of course click game week 26. Raya and me, or Raya and Mings on a wildcard. I mean, you definitely want to triple on Brighton. That's my stance. So I would say Ben Me, right? So that you have I would say Ben Me so that you have triple Brentford. McAllister will play number 10. He played number 8 only because Estupinian was injured and Gross had to play on Estupinian's position. Now Estupinian is back, so Gross will play next to Caicedo, so McAllister will be in number 10. That is interesting. That is an interesting... If McAllister plays in number 10, I definitely want him ahead of Mitoma. That's my thoughts. That is a good point. That is a good point. Probably the last decision that I'll have to make, to be honest. McAllister or Mitoma. That is tough. That is tough. Reasons for Maddison over second Arsenal defender. I would think second Arsenal midfielder. So basically, I've rewind back a little bit. I basically said, I've gone through the whole plan, and basically Maddison is someone that I think I will want in 29, and that's why I've gone for him here. Gabriel in for sure. Yeah, if it's this game week, if you're just using free transfers to navigate, yeah, I think that's fine. Oscar says recently subscribed, well done and keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Play Raya or Sanchez. For this game week, if you already have a Brentford defender, then I'll start Sanchez. Are you planning to bring in Bruno Fernandes in game week 29? Yes. Let me pull up my game week 29 squad. This is my game week 29 squad. It's looking something like this. Let me reverse the Zuma move, assuming I don't make that move. This is my team for game week 29, my likely team. The thing is, João Felix can be Ollie Watkins as well, right? So, yeah, it would be either João Felix or Ollie Watkins. You'll realize there's no Haaland. The plan is to bring Haaland back in for Kane after game week 29. Right. Should I bring in Zaha or Sterling? Neither. I wouldn't go for any of them. Watkins or Tony? I go for Watkins this week. Odegaard or Madison? I'm going for Madison. Who are we all captaining? We can do a captaincy poll after this. I'm probably captaining Saka. I don't think I can look past him against Brentford. I have Felix, Iheanacho, Odegaard, Martinelli, Rashford, but I need to bench one. You start João Felix, you start Iheanacho as well. Whew. I get the issue now. That is a tough one. Maybe Odegaard. Maybe. Such a tough one. It's between Odegaard or Iheanacho for me. Is Shaw fit for selection? Let me check. I think there's an update recently. Basically, he seems like he'll be back. We expect him back is what Ten Hag said, basically. Yeah, so it seems like he'll be back. Rashford or Mitoma for this week? Mitoma has better fixtures. I definitely start Rashford for sure. How much in the bank do you have? Based on my wildcard team, I will have 2 mil left in the bank. I have 2 mil left in the bank if I go with my game week 26 squad, which is on the screen right now. So this is my game week 26 squad, and if I go with this team, I will have 2 million in the bank. Right, that's, yeah. Does Watkins play in game week 32? Let's take a look at this. Yeah, game week 32, Ollie Watkins will play. He'll play Brentford. Right, Ollie Watkins will play Brentford, so he's fine for that. When will you bench boost? I'm probably gonna bench boost in game week 29. At this point in time, if I go for Madison, it's definitely gonna be a bench boost 29. Should I start Trippier or Trent Alexander-Arnold? This week, I think I would start, if I have to choose one, I would start. Trippier, probably. Yeah. Daniel says, hopefully you haven't already covered this, but who would you choose out of Ben Mee, Rico Henry, and Pinnock? So, initially I was on Pinnock, but Rico Henry I think has decent attacking threat, a little bit more than Pinnock or maybe Ben Mee. I think because if he plays in that back five role, right, where we've seen a couple of times Brentford play a back five, then Rico Henry is actually playing left wing back. So I do like that, and there's a chance he does play that, and if it does happen, like against Southampton, he got an assist, right? So double digit haul for him there. So I do like that. I think it's a little bit more consistent of a threat than headers from Ben Mee or Pinnock. So that's why I've gone for Rico Henry. Emerson Royale or any Aston Villa defender for blank game week 28. Emerson Royale is injured at this point in time, so I would say I would go for a Villa defender then in that case. Raya to Sanchez and Estepinian to Mings will give you 11 players in Game Week 28. Yep, for sure. Right, but I'm kind of gambling on the fact that I think Estepinian plus Raya covers Sanchez and Mings basically. That's what I'm gambling on. Can I see your lineup and what transfers will you make in Game Week 27? You can rewind a little bit, but basically 27 I'm not making any transfers. 28 I'll be making one transfer, Haaland down to either Watkins or João Felix. That's the plan. When will you use your free hit? I think free hit I'd probably use it in Game Week 32. It's likely to be Game Week 32. Right, so I just received a notification from YouTube. Basically, we have just hit 3,600 subscribers on the stream. Right, so thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, everyone, for subscribing, for supporting the channel, and of course, coming down to the streams. And yeah, just enjoy chatting with you guys about FPL. Right, so if you haven't already, do hit the button and also drop a like on the stream as well. Alright, I think that's pretty much it. I think I'm probably going to hop on over to the Discord to chat with the members just before the deadline. So those of you guys who want to continue chatting, do check out the first link in the description, and you will be able to join the Discord and we can chat over there. Amax is well done. Thank you very much. Thank you, man. Thank you for the support. All right. Just let me make sure that I've covered, I think, everything that I wanted to say today, if I'm not wrong. Thoughts on Garnacho? Nah, I want to go for Garnacho. Thanks for the great stream. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Today's stream was quite fun, right, I have to say. Hi, mate. I'm on to a final decision for a wildcard. Raya and Estepinian or Sanchez and Pinnock? I would prefer Raya and Estepinian. Right, I prefer Raya and Estepinian. Sanchez and Pinnock or Raya? Exactly the same question. I prefer Raya and Estepinian. Mings, Castagna, Chilwell or Fofana to replace Royale? I would say Mings. Alright, that's pretty much it. I am off to the Discord. I'm probably going to decide whether or not I want to go with Madison. I'm probably going to go with him, but I think Mitoma, I may change him to McAllister. I'm not 100% yet, right? I may change Mitoma to McAllister. So let's see how that one goes, right? But yeah, essentially there's only that decision left, and I doubt I would do Madison to Odegaard or Martinelli. I'd probably just keep Madison. So yeah, it's just, I mean, McAllister, if he plays that number 10, he becomes the best, man. Probably have to decide. Alright, that's pretty much it. Right, thank you guys for tuning in. I will for the members and also the patrons, I'll join you guys on the Discord right after the stream, so I'll catch you guys there. But for those of you who are watching, thank you guys for coming down. I'll catch you guys in more Game Week 27 27 content, right, is coming thick and fast. But hopefully you guys manage to, for those of you wildcarding, right, 70% of you guys who are wildcarding, hopefully you guys manage to finalize some of your 50-50 calls, right? There's loads of them. Toby says Madison. Yeah, I'm going for Madison now. That's what it's looking like. I'll explain more in the Discord. Right, I'll catch you there. Alright, so thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in more content very soon. Right, all the best for Game Week 26, and may your arrows be green. Alright, bye-bye.